I wanted to give the students plenty of time, and I want to make sure that we can get into our workshop, so I may need to speed through some of my presentation, but just to let you know that all the slides will be available online. I know that you've requested that, but I'll try to hit the high points as we go through the state of the district. I'd like to talk a little bit about enrollment. I'd like to talk about budget. And I'd like to talk about student success and some of the important changes that are happening right now at Southwestern. There's a very interesting trend recently in our enrollment, and it relates directly to student success. The first diagram that you see is full-time students. It's fall 12, spring 13, and then last fall. And you can see that it's gone up significantly from 28% to 36.5%. Obviously, a student will complete their goal quicker if they take more classes, but full-time students tend to have better student success completion results overall. This is a good trend. You can see in the next diagram that the students that are attending 75% is going down. And in the next diagram, the students that are part-time also going down. Why? Because more students are full-time students, and then you see a slight bump up in the non-credit. This is a really interesting trend, and it's one that we want to encourage because absolutely we want our students to succeed, and one of the ways to help them succeed is to get them to be full-time students. Interestingly, let's look at the number of students. The first three bars are for fall semesters, from fall 11, 12, and 13. And you can see that there has been a decline of about 300 students over those past three fall semesters, which corresponds to some of the contraction that we had in offerings. The last three bars are spring semesters. So you see that big decline from spring 12 to spring 13. You remember where we were last year? When we scheduled spring, we didn't know if Prop 30 was going to pass or not. We had a very, very small spring, and then we put the extra enrollment in summer. So you see that big drop off to last spring, and you can see that it's starting to come back. We can see about a 3% increase in headcount right now this spring as compared to last spring. What does that mean in terms of enrollment? This is a quick view at what our FTS, full-time equivalent student enrollment, has been for the last 3 years and what our target is for this year. You can see that it was at almost 16,000 in 2010-11, a significant drop in 11-12, and then about the same in 12-13. You can see that our target has gone up to a little over 15,000, and we're trying to get some of that growth money for this year. So that's our target. We're now trying to start the acceleration of enrollment rather than the contraction. Let's look at how we did in the fall, and let's look at where we're at right now. Last fall, we earned over 7,000 FTS. That's the first number, 7,062.68. Our maximum that we could have earned with the sections offered was over 7,800. We had 1962 sections. Our target for this semester was 7,237. We didn't quite make our target. We were 174 FTS short of our target in fall. Where are we at right now? Right now, we estimate our FTS at 6,432. You can see that our seat fill is kind of soft at 83%, and that our target is 6,761, so we're over 300 short of our target. That's important, because what that means is that all of us, no matter what our job is, we need to be working together to get the students onto our campuses and get them registered and into our classes, and then provide them with the environment and the support services to succeed in those classes. We really, really need to make a full court press, because we have got sections and seats open for our students, and we need to make sure that we get students into those seats. And I want to acknowledge and thank SCA President Eric Mann. He has sent that message out to the faculty, and I want to support him and reiterate that message. That's a message for the faculty, the classified professionals. It's a message for our administrators, for our trustees. We're all in this together, and we all need to make sure that we get those students in those seats. We have a lot of outreach that's going on right now, lots of email blasts, social media. You're going to see the schools are all out there with tables directing students. I want to make a plea to the faculty members. You are so influential. This first week of classes, make sure that you tell your students there are classes and sections open. Encourage them to add a class to their schedule. We can make this target, and we will look very carefully at making some additions to our late start classes in the spring and additions to our summer schedule. But we are on a growth path now, folks, and we all need to be part of getting these students in. It's access for our students, success for our students, and yes, it's also revenue for us. Let's look very quickly at the budget. This is the budget that we've seen for the last 3 years plus this year. I think one of the significant things when you look at the budget for 11-12 is that last number, that big $6 million deficit. Remember when I came 2 years ago, what did we have? A big mid-year cut. I want to thank every single person in this room and those that were not able to be here with us today for the results of last year. We really tightened our belts last year. And the significant result is we had less than a $500,000 deficit. In great part, that was due to the sacrifice of every single faculty member, every classified professional, every single administrator, including myself and the governing board members who took a 3.5% pay cut last year. But we were able to close what looked like it was going to be a much bigger deficit. This year, we see our projected deficit of $600,000. I believe we can close that deficit this year. One of the reasons is because of the good work that we are doing in continually reducing expenses and trying to enhance revenues. And I'd like to share with you some good news. Steve Crow, our Vice President of Business and Finance, and Wayne Yanda, our Finance Director, are both in Sacramento. They're reviewing the governor's budget. We were just informed yesterday from the Chancellor's office that there will be a recalculation and that some of the RDA monies that we did not receive, we will receive this year. That's good news. It's not ongoing money, but it is significant. We're anticipating about $1 million that we'll receive this year. That will close that deficit right there. I'm not going to go through this part just in an effort to save time, but the purpose of putting this slide in was to show that we have been using our reserves to finance these deficits, and the governing board also reduced their reserve. What we're going to try to do now is prudently build reserves and build the governing board reserve, being sensitive, of course, to requests such as COLA. Let's look at some of the good news. I talked about enrollment. This is really important because look at the first number here. The first number is an estimated $2 million that could come to us in ongoing revenue if we can grow. The governor's budget proposed a 3% restoration growth. If we could grow 3%, that would mean approximately $2 million ongoing revenues for us. That is significant, and that's why we need the full court press, and we all need to care about getting students onto our campuses and into our classes. There was a very modest COLA proposed by the governor, and there was also increases in what we call the SPSP, Student Success and Support Programs funding. This is what we used to call matriculation. That would be new funds. Also $1 million in categorical addition for us if the governor's budget comes true. $1.1 million that we could obtain for scheduled maintenance, but it requires us to match it dollar for dollar, so we would have to have $1.1 million in our budget earmarked for that. And $1.1 million new money in instructional equipment. That's all really good news. That's a very good governor's budget. We'll see where the budget actually ends up. There's going to be a lot of debate and discussion, but folks, this is the best budget that we've seen in a number of years. It's very encouraging, and it offers us a lot more flexibility with what we can do here at Southwestern. Let's talk quickly about student success. Our current completion rate is 43%. We want to do better. We want to be in the top 10% of the California community colleges, and we want to have a completion rate that gets us there, and we set a stretch goal of 58%, and that we wanted to go even further. We wanted to get it up to 65%. I believe we can do it. let's look at where we're at. This is part of how we're measuring in California now. You've seen this measurement. This is our completion rate. What you may not have seen are the comparison groups. So those vertical bars show you the highs and lows of our comparison groups. So you can see that we used to be towards the top of our comparison group, but we slipped down to the middle. We need to look at why that's happening and where are the opportunities for improvement. If you look at the students that come here that are college prepared, their completion rate is much higher. Right now, the last cohort is 63%. But I want you to notice that we're still in the middle or bottom half of our cohort group. Those completion rates vary from the 73% to 81%. So those are the kinds of targets we should be setting for ourselves. And here is really the area where we need to improve. These are the students that come to us that are not prepared for college. They're basic skills students. Our previous cohorts, we were at the top within our peer group, and you can see that that has slipped, and right now our last cohort is at 36%. That is the reason why our overall completion rates are at 43%. These are the students that need our help. This is the opportunity area. This is where we need to focus our efforts. And I want to show you that we are really, really good at this. So I know we can get our completion rates up. Look at English for basic skills English. This is fantastic. We are consistently at or near the top of our peer group, and I want kudos to all of those English instructors and to all of the managers and support staff that help you. It's basically about 50%, right? We can do better, but we should acknowledge we're really good at this, and we're really good at this too. Look at our ESL, consistently at or near the top. Again, this is hovering sort of in the 45, 46, high 40%. Room for improvement, yes, but we should again acknowledge we're really good in basic skills English and ESL. Here's our challenge area. This is where our opportunity is. It's in our math area. If you look at math, you can see that we're consistently towards the bottom, and currently 19%. But let's look at something interesting. Do you see the low mark at 12.14% and how we've been slowly but persistently improving? We're now at 19%. We've got a ways to go, but let's acknowledge the fact that we are improving. And let's acknowledge all of our math faculty, because there are two things that I know they're doing, and there's a lot that I don't know they're doing, but they're implementing the Emporium model, and we're looking at that as potentially a great way to improve student completion, and we're starting our math boot camp in the summer. So our faculty see this, they recognize the opportunity, and they're working on it. This is a challenge area, this is the opportunity. This is the area where we need to help our students succeed. Let's look at some other good news. You know, we had that kind of blip with the CSU transfer, where we had that big influx in 2010-12, and that was because of how they changed intaking students. But if you take that year out of it, and you look at 08, 09, and then last year, you can see what? Last year we transferred 593 students. That's the best we've done, taking out the anomaly year of 10-11. That's really good. Look at UC transfers. The best transfer rate ever. Last year, 235 students. That is really good work. So we are on the right path. We've got the foundation. We can get our completion rates up. We know what some of the student success measures are that we need to follow. And you've just heard from 3 students that part of the way we do that is with learning communities. So very quickly, let me end my remarks by making sure that you're all aware of some of the things that we are doing. This college is really involved in a lot of change. We've launched a lot of new projects with our ERP, our colleague system, a new chart of accounts, our payroll module is being implemented. Next year, when I stand before you, I'm going to be telling you that we have achieved fiscal independence. We are piloting this spring, The new online student education plan. This is a big deal, it's a major accomplishment, and it'll be fantastic for our students. And we are launching a new interactive, improved online orientation for our students. We've been able to restore library hours, tutoring hours. We have a new Veterans Resource Center. I want to thank the VSO. They have been able to staff it with volunteers, and we are going to get permanent staffing for that center. And we want to acknowledge that we are going to be hiring at least 15 new tenure-track faculty. Recruitment starts now. I think that we're actually hiring the largest number out of all of our San Diego County colleges. I wanted to mention that student success isn't just from the classroom up, it's also from the top down. Our governing board supports student success, and it is their #1 goal. It is my #1 professional goal, and I hope it is your #1 professional goal. Our trustees, 3 of them, attended a Governance Institute for Student Success at the end of October, early November, and they have committed to a policy agenda for student success. They want this to be an inclusive process. They want to hear from you. You are going to be hearing more about the governing board's actions in this area. One other quick item I wanted to mention. We are looking for opportunities to increase the international students that attend our college to enrich the experience that all of our students have. We're really working actively with our friends in Tijuana, with the principals in the high schools there, to create stronger pathways for those students to come here. We also have a new agreement that we have just signed. That's our Two Cities, initiative. We have a new agreement that we've just signed with the state of Qatar. This is a Middle Eastern state in the Emirates, and we will be hosting a cohort of 10 students each year that will be coming here for their education. These are the types of opportunities and the creativity that exists here at Southwestern, and I wanted you to hear that we are moving and we are opening our doors to more and more students from around the world. We have been spending our opening days working together to figure out how to improve student success. We have listened to you, we have taken those ideas, and we created 3 initiatives that we are implementing this year. And what are those initiatives again? Implementing degree audit. Guess what one of the key components is? The electronic student ed plan that we're launching this spring. We are doing what we said we would do. We are also analyzing the completion rates of our programs. One of the things we've been analyzing are those cohort programs, the learning communities. We see that those communities, such as PAIR, are very, very effective, and we're using the data, analyzing it within departments and schools to see what can we do to improve our student outcomes. And lastly, we said we need a first-year experience. We need to embrace those students when they come in. We need to engage them and keep them here. And one of the components of the first-year experience, I've already mentioned, it's the boot camp that we're launching this summer, and we will be developing more components to that first-year experience. But these strategies I did not dream up. This is the work that you did through opening day events such as the workshops that we'll be having after this session. So what our goal today is to take all of us from all constituencies, blend us into the workshop groups, and to look at how we are achieving these different initiatives and to get your feedback so that we can keep the momentum going. Because together, we are going to help our students achieve more. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the time that you've allowed me to address you. Thank you for everything that you do to make this college what it is and what it will continue to be. And welcome back and have a fabulous spring 2014 semester.